Hello, I'm Alan, welcome to the Guitar Shack. Today's video I'm going to quickly give you the edited highlights of the pre-sale preparation process that I use on this 2012 Epiphone Sheraton that I have in for sale and which will be going on the Reverd channel soon. Okay, this is it with the hardware removed. So again, it's in pretty good condition. Bit dusty and grubby underneath the bits that don't normally get cleaned. We'll take care of that, but overall it's looking good. Just a closer look at the fretwork here. You can see there's a small chip in the binding just on the first fret. It's not going to get in the way of anything playing. And you can see just the frets need just that levelling and polish. But overall it's in pretty good shape. So a quick run over with the fret rocker shows a number of just slightly high frets, and having looked at them closely, they're all very uniformly crowned, which isn't always the case after they've been levelled. So I've got a funny feeling that this might actually never have been levelled after it left the factory, and actually there's no reason why it should do, because it played low and well anyway, so it wouldn't necessarily need it. But now it's got a bit of playwear in it, it's the right time to do it. And as is often the case with these Epiphones, they're really nice guitars, but you can make that little bit of difference by just giving them the extra little bit of TLC that they don't get at this kind of price point, that theoretically the more expensive Gibson versions do, although there seems to be plenty of dispute over whether that happens either. So a quick view inside the pickup cavities, nothing nasty lurking in there. These are the original standard Epiphone pickups. They haven't been messed with. The neck joint, there's no cracks, or there's no evidence of any movement whatsoever. It's all nice and solid. And one of the main reasons I do this is, as you can see, there's just even when these guitars are well cleaned, there's just a sort of build up of gunk and goop around where the pickup rings sit. So I like to make sure that everything's cleaned right back and spotless, and give it a deep clean, give it a good wax, get it all assembled back together with everything properly cleaned, and it's as good as new. Electrically, you can't really access much on these semi-hollows, but this is all the original Epiphone wiring. It's got plug connections by this stage. It's a 2012 model. It all looks as neat, factory standard, nothing's been messed with, and it all works perfectly when tested. So I'll get plenty of electrical contact cleaner into the pots as much as I can, and into the switches, and make sure that they're all deoxidized as much as possible. For the actual cleaning process itself, I don't use anything more complicated or harsh than just a very slightly dampened cloth on one hand, and then immediately wiping the residue off again on the other. A little bit of elbow grease will get pretty much anything off the body of the guitar, and that's what you want before you start applying wax into it. So I'm going to go around the entire body doing that. And then the other thing I've done is I've raised the pickups up as high as they'll go, so that I can get into them all the way around the edges and give them a good clean. And then when I've done that, I'll reinstall them so that they're secure, and drop them back down, and we'll set the actual pickup heights as part of the setup. Particularly on a Sheraton, you don't want to be too abrasive with any kind of cleaning on the metal work, because it's gold plated, and it does come off quite easily, so you've got to be very gentle with it. So there's a tip for you, nothing more than elbow grease and a tiny little bit of dampness. So that's the whole top being cleaned, and then I've put the pickups back in, screwed them in, and then I've lowered them right down. Two reasons for that. One is so they don't fall out when I turn it over and start doing the rest of it. And then secondly, I've lowered the front right down, lower than it will sit when it's finished, just to give me room to keep it out of the way when I level the neck. So those will get taped off, and then we'll get into that in a bit. So I've just been working my way around the rest of the guitar, and I've finally found a little scratch just on the back of the headstock, about probably 1.5 centimetres, and a tiny little bit of marking just on the tips of the headstock itself. That's the only defect that I can find on the entire guitar so far. And I'm quite pleased about it because it just shows that, you know, for a 12-year-old guitar, it has actually been used and it hasn't just been, you know, sitting in a case. I like to think that after 12 years it's, you know, played some rock and roll in its life. But overall, this thing is absolutely immaculate. That's the only damage I've found. And it's certainly going to be an excellent listing on Reverb. Possibly mint. I'll need to check the definitions. But that's about as beaten up as it gets, that little bit there. So that's the whole guitar cleaned. Clean as a whistle, it's in really good condition. Even the fretboard, which is quite often covered in somebody else's gunk, was very clean. It's obviously been well looked after or not used much. Either way, it's in really good nick. So I've now got the truss rod cover off. I'm going to flatten out the neck and I'm going to do the fret dressing. I won't bore you with the details of the fret dressing. There's lots of videos on how that's done on the internet. But I'll give you, it's a lengthy and involved process, but I'll give you a few little peeks along the way. So here's the fretwork. It's been levelled and crowned, and now I'm going to polish it up. And here we have the finished fretboard with the frets all levelled, crowned and polished. Fretboard's been lemon oiled and it's all ready to go back together again now. Now here we see there's a small dent in the binding just at the top of the first fret. Now it doesn't affect playability at all, but I've looked at it and I don't think I can drop fill it in a way where it wouldn't show anyway, so I think it's much better to just leave it. So that's there for disclosure. And then the only other fault I've found with this guitar is on the G string, the tuner was a little bit loose, and what we can see is that there should be a little white plastic washer in the Grover tuner, and that has worn away and dropped out. So when I tightened it up, it shortened it a little bit. I'm not going to send it out like that, so I will replace that tuner with another one from a genuine one from a 2021 Sheraton that I have, which I'll be putting locking tuners on to go with its Bigsby. So that'll be replaced before sale. And there she is, ready to be reassembled and strung. Just on the home straight now, applying a bit of wax. I generally do 2 coats of wax before the setup, and then once it's complete, give it another coat of wax when it's ready for dispatch. And this is the end result. A beautiful 12-year-old guitar brought back to all of her glory. She comes with a hard case. She'll be shipped inside that and will cost £35 for UK shipping. Alternatively, I can do a personal delivery. If you want to contact me in advance, I'll give you a quote for that. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please come over to my Reverd store to see the full listing with more detailed photographs and some other guitars that I have for sale. Thanks for watching. See you next time at the Guitar Shack. Use guitars as they should be.